And welcome back. This is another episode of Pixels and Pints Up Late, which means we get sultry and smooth. With me tonight is Pete.
Hi.
And we've got Dan.
Hello.
That wasn't sultry or smooth, but we'll take it.
Sorry, I got in trouble last time for making my mic clip, so I'm not going to talk deep into the microphone anymore.
You can talk deep into it. You just don't yell deep into it.
I'm pretty sure I didn't yell, but anyway.
There are a lot of rules, apparently, a lot of rules. So yes, tonight is another one of our UpLate one-shot episodes, whatever you want to call them. Feature articles, maybe. Let's put that one in.
We couldn't be fucked researching a whole episode.
That works too. So yes, tonight we've all got one. The theme is we've all got one big beer. We've got one big beer that we're going to have. And
I'm not entirely looking forward to mine, but
that's always good. And then we've got one. It's one big topic, a big umbrella topic, and then it breaks down into little things.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. That is the UpLate, and short, sweet, to the point. Short is a relative term in terms of our podcast.
And so sweet and to the point, I hate to tell you.
Everything I just said was complete
was a lie.
Complete
100%
lie.
lies.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
On beers, I haven't even tried my beer yet.
Well, I haven't even tried mine yet, but I'm looking at the can and I'm struggling with the legalities of this can. I'm sorry to say. Controversy straight up. So I've got Bright Brewing, Stubborn Imperial Stout 2023. It's fucking 16%.
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No wonder you're not looking forward to it.
Yeah, 16%'s not my cup of tea, but I thought, fuck it, I'm never going to have it any other time. So this may as well be the time where I choose to drink it. There's no brewery information on this can, which is illegal.
No brewery information.
No address of the brewery, no things like that, which legally has to be on the can. Oh, no, wait a minute. It's a tiny little thing at the bottom. I stand corrected.
Well done.
I'm thinking about sink pouring a $20 beer.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Wow. Speaking of controversy, let's get right into it.
Mine's from Bright in Victoria. Bright Brewing in Victoria.
Mine's delicious. Fuck a lot of you.
Mine tastes like someone took a chocolate stout and added burnt rubber to it.
Holy hell, that's strong.
You can tell by the way your one eye involuntarily closed.
He went to Popeye immediately.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where the ethanol goes up through your nostril cavities. It's not bad, but definitely it's a well constructed beer for 16%. It's definitely got some sort of woody, oaky character to it. I don't think it's a barrel aged or anything like that. Embrace winter come stubborn imperial stout.
It's a yearly release, they do, yeah.
Yeah, layers, sweet chocolate, dark espresso with subtle spice. I'd agree with that, but it's definitely got some dryness to it.
Sorry, what was it called, mate? Did we figure it out?
It's the Bright Stubborn release.
The 23 release.
Stubborn Imperial 2023 by whom?
Yes. Bright Brewing. Bright Brewery.
Bright Brewery, thank you.
Right. And
I tuned out while my taste buds made my head explode.
Yeah, well, I tuned out for a second while my alcohol made my head explode.
I had last year's vintage, the 2022, and it was quite good, but it was only 11.5%. I just looked it up.
It was only 11.5. You know you got a big beer when that's a sentence.
Yeah. Woo! That activates the salivation glands as well.
Wow. Umami beer.
It's got a fair bit of bitterness to it. It's not necessarily hot bitterness. I think it's like ethanol-y bitterness and astringent bitterness.
That's the word I can never remember anymore.
Can I read you my favorite note that they've put in this? The ABV is well hidden for something that sits at 16%. It is more reminiscent of something around the 12% range. You know, just your average day beer. Your classic post-work staffy. It's just a 12%er.
Yeah. That 4% makes a huge difference when you get to that point of the scale. Like I said, it is well constructed. It is I definitely would not be drinking. Well, I don't think you should drink more than one for the punters out there, just alcohol-wise.
Yep.
Come back to me with score. I'm just going to have to sit back on it for a second and work it out.
My brain's processing.
Mm.
Can I go next? Do you mind, Tom?
No, jump right in.
Thank you. So I'm drinking One Drop's Ranaku Antipodean Nordic Stout. Beautiful fucking can. Simple, gold lettering on like a lovely brown background.
Oh, that's the collab with that. Is that the other brewery on the front?
Poljala or Poljala?
I remember that coming out, yeah.
It is a 12.5% Nordic Stout. And I'm really struggling with it. It's one of those where straight off the bat, it's like, what the fuck is this? Like it tastes really loud and not beer-like. And then I'm finding, because I said like it tastes like burnt rubber. It's extremely bitter. It's like someone added a triple shot of espresso to a Russian stout. But as it's warming up and as my brain's kind of settling into the groove, I am separating out the layers. So I'm getting cinnamon. It's certainly a lot of cinnamon on the nose, but you get a mouthful of cinnamon with this really strong bitterness. It's like bitter cocoa chocolate, little bit of coconut, probably. I would almost say too much coconut to go with the rest of the flavor profile. It's just a bit of a brain teaser in terms of separating out the layers of flavor. But I definitely get shitloads of cinnamon, which I think is where I'm getting the bitterness from. A lot of bitter chocolate. There's a lot of smoke, but like traditional smoke through it, like black malt smoke. Just reading the first 7 people on Untappd sync poured it and gave it half a star, which I've got to be honest was my first reaction. But it's as I'm kind of warming up to it.
Born is a massive mine to warm up too.
Born is a massive dark collaboration of beer and friendship of our pals Pohjola, Estonia. Working closely with the head brewer Martin, we adapted a huge dark base of theirs for the Antipodean malts we use, while also drawing inspiration from coastal Australia. After an 8-hour boil, robust hopping, and cold fermentation, an extensive bittering on the hot side gives this massive Nordic stout something massive. A rich foundation of strong, malty, and heavily roasted character is complemented and amplified by additions of North Queensland vanilla and toasted coconut. There you go. New South Wales cinnamon myrtle and Tasmanian oak. So that's where the cinnamons come from, and that's also a part of the astringency. Thank you for that word, returning that word to my brain, Dan, because it's not just cinnamon, it's myrtle, which is that really bitter Aussie bush flower that we've had in quite a few beers at various gabs.
Become quite popular, the old Myrtle. Myrtle the turtle.
Lemon Myrtle. Yes, so I'm going to give that a hearty 4.25. Now that I know what it is, what it's trying to be, and my brain started to separate out those flavors, it's actually fucking impressive. Dan, you would love this because you love your bitter beers. This is exactly up your alley.
I was going to say, just with your 2 beers, because you've got 2 very big dark beers, and I'm assuming they've both probably just come out of the fridge.
Yeah.
That maybe hold your, or go back
and
score it again as it warms.
That's exactly why I didn't score mine, and mine's changed quite a bit significantly, so that all the malt profile was all muted when it was completely cold, and that whole time Pete was there, people could probably see me. I was sitting here cupping it like a nice pair of balls, and it was warming up nicely. So the malt character, that chocolate's really smoothed out and come out of its shell. So yeah,
nice.
Which is why when you want to have a stout, you should take it out the beer beforehand. Always the way.
Well, I actually did, but it still wasn't long enough because it's a bit chilly here.
And the other disadvantage I've got specifically tonight is I've run out of my what do you call them, glasses? So what do we call them? What's the shape of those glasses that we always use?
The ones I gave you?
Beer judging? No, not those ones. I almost got him out. I'm drinking out of a Three Ravens Stein. No, we usually drink out of the ones that's shaped specifically so you get all the
your IPA and your stout glasses, those ones. Yeah, I don't know.
Spiegel ones.
Your Spiegels.
The Spiegel glasses, yeah.
Thank you. Bagels.
That's the word I was looking for. Tom, what are you drinking, mate?
I am drinking a collab as well because I love a fucking collab. This is not between two breweries, though. This is between Bracket and Boomstick Glassware. This is I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
This is my Boomstick.
This is the second collab these guys have done. The last one they did was the Gambit beer. So they've gone again with the X-Men theme, and God bless them for that. I was at Bracket the other week, and I gave my list of X-Men they need to start featuring if I could have my way. They looked at me very oddly and said, "Who's this strange man yelling at us about X-Men?"
Yeah, and we're closed. Go away.
Yeah. Yes, Tom. It's 8 a.m. Please leave. This is
out of interest. Who were those obscure X-Men?
Oh, I want to see a Banshee beer. Like Banshee hasn't got enough limelight.
Yeah.
I was talking about
Wendigo.
Oh,
was it Wendigo? Wendigo.
Well, Puck would be a good one. Is Puck, but Puck Alpha Force?
He's Alpha Force, yeah.
I don't remember. Like it was, obviously, I just don't want him to go down the path.
Stop trying to trip him up, Dan. That's not.
No,
nice.
I wasn't trying to trip him up. It was a genuine interest question.
But you don't want to see the class. Like you don't need the core X-Men. I don't need to see a Wolverine beer. I don't need to see a Cyclops beer. Like let's. There's a big enough roster. Mr. Strong. Let's get a Mr. Strong. An English Strong ale.
Little tiny head.
Tiny head, giant body.
Sunglasses.
Anyway, so this is a triple IPA with Motueka, Mosaic, and Citra, 10.3%. And it's...
Look at that.
Beautiful and golden. It is really well balanced for 10.3%. It's very smooth and very hidden of booze. Someone did give me one of these about a week ago as the last round of the night. They thought they'd sneak it in, and it disappeared, and we were none the wiser. Like it's dangerously good at hiding that booze hit. Obviously, there's those classic like the Citra notes come through, so it's really really citrusy and quite fruit forward, but super smooth. Like from the malt coming through, like the malt base. The mouthfeel is very, very coating, and it is, I don't need to warm this one up. Look, it's even got Jasper excited. Shut up! So yes, I'm giving that's a solid 4.5. That's a very, and they get nice. It was what a good way to 4, but they get that extra 0.5 for the danger factor of just how quickly I could probably drink this if I needed to. Yeah.
The danger factor also comes in copyright infringement, I think.
They did admit that one of the parties was given the task of selecting the imagery, and they were one of the other parties was disappointed when they found it's actually just the first thing on Wikipedia when you search is that exact imagery.
Oh, they could have paid okay.
The Gambit can. I don't remember if you remember the Gambit can, but it was just his hand with the cards, and they were on the pink flame. It was very good. This one, it's obviously just, quick, we need to get something. Here you go, take that. But I thought you could have done a really cool, recognizable, the Juggernaut fist with the red rings, going down, just slamming into the ground or coming through the can, like that.
Or just the empty helmet with a crack in it would have been cool.
No, the helmet upside down on a slab of concrete with a beer glass next to it.
With a big fucking crack in it.
Yeah.
Make it obvious that it's made out of
just
rock.
The gem of Sidorak just glowing in the middle, and
nobody would
everyone.
get that. Yeah,
I get it. Anyway, good on you, Vinnie Jones. What a roll! What a roll!
All right, take us into our topic for tonight, Tom.
No pressure.
Since you did intro.
I didn't come up with this, but let's do it.
Didn't you?
No, this was Dan's. This was Dan's.
Oh, sorry,
idea.
Dan. My apologies.
No, Tom can introduce it. It was a throwaway line. Anyway, go on.
So
they almost always are, just behind the scenes for anyone listening who's interested.
So this came about as a discussion we've had a bit recently on the old podcast, which was there's the ongoing Writers Guild and Screen Actors Guild strikes predominantly in the US. I haven't seen much of it around here.
There's been some Aussie actors that have spoken out in solidarity, but obviously...
Yeah. People are jumping in, but there's obviously different unionisation over here compared to what the guys over there have.
Yeah, we've got no money to start with in the Australian film industry, so...
Well, definitely not as much as Hollywood. But yeah, so this came about as like, obviously for us as content viewers, there's like these strikes, however long they keep on going, there's going to be a gap in what we get to consume in our entertainment, like... section of our lives. So we decided this is the perfect time to get into those. We opened it up to games as well. So games and series and movies that I guess have been clogging up the rainy day pile. We've been squirreling away like nuts as in the long hibernation. So that's basically what we've done. We've all gone through.
We're going to talk about our nuts.
We are going to talk about our nuts. Broken down, so we'll do some. I think we should just do our sections, not us each individually. We'll do games, then we'll do movies, then we'll do TV, and and there's definitely obviously some
lots of overlap
there, and someone else go because I want to drink the beer now.
Well, we're going to start by talking about all the games that Tom told Dan and I that we're going to play. So you can explain that first, please, Tom.
What? He didn't. I wrote these.
Oh, did
I
you?
wrote my ones.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you write them for me too? Then
no, I just copied that. I meant to delete that. Sorry.
Right. I'm like, is Tom playing a joke? Is he telling me I have to play that game?
No. This was Dan, but then I wrote out the structure of the thing and then I copied it. Yeah.
Dan,
editing. It's my strong point.
Definitely. Contributing's mine. So what? Two games that have been. One has been on my list for years, and I just don't have the platform that it's on. But I've been talking about buying a Switch for years. Me and Louise had a Wii U for years, and we played Mario Kart almost every weekend on it. Perfect. I touched on the first Zelda, Breath of the Wild, on it a little bit, but it was primarily our lounge room Wii U, so we could. Have a couple of Mario Kart races on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon just for the hell of it after lunch or over the first beer or over the 20th beer or whatever, wherever over the 20th.
Got to the 20th beer, it's just like, all right, let's up it to 150cc. We can still make those corners.
But years ago, we packed it up and gave it to our niece and nephew in the intentions of buying a Switch.
Yep.
And my wanting to get a Switch was twofold. To have the newer version of Mario Kart and a newer Nintendo in the house. But Mario 64 is one of my fondest memories as a teenager. On the 64, it and Shadows of the Empire were the first two games I got on my N64 when I got it, and I played the crap out of Mario 64 and absolutely loved it. And I haven't played a 3D Mario game since. So when I saw Odyssey came out and all of the effort and the work they put into Mario Odyssey, I was like, I have to play this, but I have to buy a Switch to play this. But we need a Switch anyway because we need Mario Kart, we need it in. But we ended up giving the Wii U away, and then we never ended up buying a Switch. And every time Christmas rolls around, we go, we're going to buy ourselves that Switch this year so we can start playing Mario Kart. And I'm like, yes, well, I'm also going to buy Mario Odyssey and play that. We even did the Christmas just gone, and we're still talking about it now. So hopefully this year,
man.
Yeah, hopefully this year we will get a Switch.
Switches are currently on sale at EB Games as we speak. Just being
just saying. When it gets to your turn, I'll jump onto eBay and have a look at what they are. But I think it looks like and the Mario games for me have always been this fun jump in for 10 minutes. Turns into 2 hours, but you're not tied into
an entire flight to LA playing nothing but Mario 64 instead of sleeping. Best thing I've ever done.
It's just one of those games where you go, oh, I don't have to do a mission. I can just jump in and see how far I get with a level, or especially with Odyssey. I know it's structured slightly differently, but you can go and find a couple. They're moons in Odyssey, aren't they? Not stars anymore.
Moon? No, that was cool. Galaxy, because it's gone 64 and then there's Super Mario Sunshine and then there's Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2 and now it's Odyssey. But Odyssey's all about Odyssey's all about Mario throws his hat and he can possess things.
But you can still collect stars? Is that your main...
I haven't played it. I'm assuming.
Oh, you haven't played it? I thought you had. Sorry.
No, I haven't played Odyssey. I'm definitely now. It's written down on my list too.
Yeah, it's just one of those fun games I'd like to get into, just for something where I don't want to sit down and listen to dialogue for 30 minutes while I complete a storyline mission or something like that, or get my butt kicked in what is my next game on my list, which is Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring looks like a bunch of fun. I've started to play a bunch of Souls-like games in the past, or the actual Souls games, the Demon Souls.
Original.
Yeah. And I've tried to play, or started to play, not tried to play, I've started to play all them, but the tediousness of it gets to me in the end. Tediousness, that's it. The Surge was my favorite one. It wasn't a From Software game, but it was more of a industrial sci-fi game.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that was quite fun, and that was the one that I got the furthest in. I'm hoping with Elden Ring being open world and not sort of being hemmed in to like a singular level you're on, that I might find a bit more to then go out and explore. If something's giving me the shits, I don't have to just focus on that. I can move out to a separate area and go explore that. It's gotten excellent reviews. A few of my friends have played it and they'd said it's absolutely great. Some of them have absolutely no patience, so I don't know how they've sat down and played it. So
I've continued to read reviews, even recent ones, that have said that it's a perfect game other than the boss fights, and the boss fights are like the most frustrating experience known to man. There is no strategy. It's pure
Think of the worst fights you had in the hardest levels of Survivor or Fallen Order. And that's a really light Souls-esque type game. Like it's nowhere near as hard as some of the From Software ones.
But like you memorize 600 moves and then it still comes down to unlucky fucking timing.
It's all timing.
These guys are like, and these guys are like hardcore players saying, you know, I invested all of these hours into defeating this boss, and when I finally defeated him, I couldn't tell you what the fuck I did. I couldn't tell you why I beat him that one time.
Yeah, just managed to get those strikes in just.
But everything else, the open world, the lore, the story, the graphics, the game mechanics, 10 out of 10 reviews across the board. It's just
won a bunch of
boss
games of
fights.
the years, like the trophies last year. It was it was definitely up there.
Yeah, so that's where I am with that. That's it there. That if we do this again in 2 years' time, that will potentially still be sitting there.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, leading on from that was actually one of my entire categories was Souls-like games. It's like, am I a coward or am I eventually going to give them a shot more than I
didn't see that on the sheet.
And look, the short answer is I'm still a coward. I just don't know. Like, I think of all the fun I had in the Star Wars, Survivor and Fallen Order, but then all the frustration, the absolute control gripping, like, fuck, you're better than this, you dickwad. Like, come on. Like, you've been playing games since, you could walk. Like, what are you doing? And then it's just, or just not paying attention. Like, or the other side of it, like, I know it's one of those games I'm only going to have to be able to play, like, at the start of a session. I'm going to have to play it alongside something else because I enjoy sitting there and I sip on a beer while I have a game and I play a game, and then might have 2 or 3 if I'm having a longer day session or whatever. Definitely couldn't play a Souls-like game after a couple of beers because it'd be like, well, this is the controller's going through the TV now. Like, I'm just going to be like, fuck. Like, yeah. So that is definitely up there for me. Again, on going back to kind of similar to Dan, the Switch side of things, I have a Switch, but to be honest, it's kind of gathering dust on my bedside table. I just need to take more time with it. I definitely, it's been great when I was on flights back to America to see Emma's family and stuff because it was great. There was a portable, take it, charge it anywhere. It's got USB-C, so it's super easy to just take and charge wherever you were going. But then I only wanted it for the Nintendo titles. I didn't want it to play something I could play on the PlayStation. Yeah. Because I like using the big TV, and I know I can set up the cradle for the Switch and play on the big TV, but then just having the little joysticks, I'd have to get one of the controller peripherals, and then it's another thing in the lounge room and all that kind of stuff. So it's like it's definitely something I need to get back into because I really want to play those Zelda games. I've played every Zelda game up until Breath of the Wild, and I love that series. Like, I've always loved that series. So it's definitely one of those things I just need to be like. And I think I know what I'm going to do because I'm about to hit 100 platinums with Skyrim. I think I might let my PlayStation have a little sleep for a while. It's done some time.
Done the mileage.
Yeah, or at least just give it like a break every other day. Just be like, no. Say, Tom, go play Zelda. Go play Zelda. And then, 3 days will pass and I'll be like, ooh, where have I been? Like, that's the game that sucks me in more than Mario, like, or anything is Zelda games. I just get right into them. So definitely excited to do that. And then I guess leading on from that and, giving the PlayStation a rest is my list of shame. Games I haven't finished or I'm halfway through the hard playthrough and I just crack the shits and be like, nah, fuck it. I'll come back to it eventually. I know what happens in the story. Every 6 months since I bought it, I think it was 2014 it came out. Every 6 months I go back and try and finish the hard playthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition. And every single time I get like maybe 3-4 days into playing it, like, a couple of hour-long sessions, and I'm just like, fuck this. Nah, I'm out. I can't do it. I've built my guy wrong, but I'm too deep into it now to go back and start the hard playthrough again. I'm just like, you're an idiot. Stop going straight up tank warrior class every time. It doesn't work, Tom. Doesn't work every time. There are different situations, and maybe you should learn that. And then just a bunch of games like I started, and then something else came out, and I've just put it on the shelf.
Happens.
Yeah,
happens a lot.
I really enjoyed the Just Cause series. Emma hates it. It's very, very funny. She hates it because it's for something that's so grounded in reality. It's so unrealistic because of the physics. Because you run, jump, and you can grappling hook straight ahead. Which she's like, no, you can't. And I was like, it's a game, you can. And then you can just open your parachute or your wingsuit wherever. She's like, the fuck you can. That is just no. I hate this. Don't play it in front of me. So it's like I have to play it in secret. So that's where the new PlayStation Portal is going to be great for Tom. So like, I'm just here. No, I'm definitely not playing that game. No, definitely not. Yeah, and there's just a bunch of games that I've started and never gone back to, and or games that you guys have played that's like, talking about Red Dead Redemption the other week. Like, I need to go and play both of those, but it's just like, when I first played it, like RDR1, it was kind of like my head wasn't right for the space, and I was just like, I'm not going to invest in it. But I don't know if you guys watched any of the Gamescom stuff that just came out, but I did not give a crap about pretty much anything.
Most of it,
agreed.
Yeah, there was like one or two things I went, oh, that's kind of cool, but that's about it. It wasn't like, oh yeah, let's get into that. So this is as well as a streaming content, maybe little wasteland that we're about to go into. I'm also feeling like a new release gaming wasteland, except for Spider-Man when that comes out. That's the only one. Usually I have 3 or 4 games going into the end of the year that I'm like, cool, can't wait for that to come out. Yeah. What about you, Peter?
Yeah. What
it's Peter's turn.
No. I just saying on the Gamescom, I completely agree. I don't have much on my watch list coming into there, so this is definitely back catalogue territory.
But I got to be honest, I've got a list of 20 items to talk about tonight, and I could replace all of them with Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3, and it'll probably take me to the end of the
2024.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But like you, Tom, I've got a bunch of stuff that I haven't finished. Like RDR2, I need to finish. I'm only a third of the way through that game, loving it, but it's always going to be I need to mellow out. I've just had a massive beer, going to cruise through until it's bedtime. That's that game to me. It's just, if I smoked weed, that would be my 420 game. Just to mellow out and play. Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
See, that's a dangerous 420 game, Red Dead. That's
comedy.
That's a I drank too much peyote and got lost in the Wild West kind of situation. Just wander out into the middle of nowhere and it's like, there's no fucking fast travel in this game. Like,
and where's my pants?
Why is that coyote talking to me?
If I exit this game now, I still have to re-log in
and figure out how to get back
and still ride all the way back. So because there's only fast travel, I said it in quotation marks, in towns. Yeah, and it's jump on a carriage and go via carriage. It's you go.
There's got to be people in the world somewhere that have save games of just poor old Marstons lost in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they're like, "No, I just can't be fucked playing the game to get him back now."
Yeah.
That just ends the playthrough for them.
I'd love to be getting to that point where you would so blaze that you couldn't work out how to use the map or something like that, because there's turn the waypoints off on the mini map, and the main map doesn't show your location, so you just got to work the fuck out where you are from there, and from the topography and the landmarks, and
trisector your way back to town.
Orientate yourself back to civilization.
But you could equally get lost in some of the weird ass fucking storylines. Like I've walked into I walked past some dude's house and he's like, "Oh, come in and meet the missus," and she's all getting all sexified, and he's like, "Oh, you should go upstairs and sort her out for me." And it's like, the fuck is going on?
It's a whole little come across that one.
It's so
I think that was one of Pete's fever dreams.
And I'm pretty certain that their goal was to tempt you upstairs. The wife makes out like she's going to sleep with you, and then he hits you over the back of the head, and I think they're cannibals. I got cannibal vibes. I'm pretty certain they were eating people.
In the bayou, maybe.
Yeah, it was in the bayou. So, you can imagine that blazed. Anyway, Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I played Spider-Man 1 and then immediately jumped into Miles Morales, and I lasted all of 5 minutes. I just went, that's too much like the first game for me to play this back-to-back. So that got parked. Horizon climb every fucking VR mountain. I just really struggled. I mean, it was cool for the visuals, and I want to finish it because I love the Horizon series, but I need to go back and finish that. And then maybe Fallout 4, but I've got enough video fucking games to play.
The other one, I still want you to finish that Guardians game.
Guardians? Yeah.
Guardians, the Square Enix one.
Yeah, all right.
I never finished it.
Do it for me, Peter. Do it for me.
Shall we move on? I don't have many movies to talk about.
Moving on. Yeah.
Your first one's a fucking brilliant movie, Dan.
Well, I know.
It is.
But that's why I've got these on there, because they're on my list, and they've basically been on the list since they came out on Netflix, and I've just never watched them. But I know I want to watch them, and every time I flick through the list going, oh, let's pick something from the list to watch, and I get to it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to watch that one day. Fury. I mean, Fury with Brad Pitt. What is it? Like 6 men stuck in a tank? I actually, that's about the basic premise. I don't know how many there is or anything like that.
No, that's pretty much the premise of the movie, and it's fucking awesome.
A lot of trace arounds. Yeah,
it reminds me of it. Is it a Tarantino film? Because it certainly fucking plays like
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, okay.
No,
it feels like a Tarantino. Fury sticks out in my mind because I think it was the last movie I ever pirated. And it had a corrupt sector about 2/3 of the way in, and so I kept forgetting that it's like, oh fuck, I still haven't seen the ending of that movie. I watched the entire movie until it crashes. I'm like, fuck, and then I put something else on, and then 6 months later I go, I still haven't seen the end of that movie. I'll put it on. 2/3 of the way crashes, so I bought it as soon as. Did I buy it? No, it's been out on streaming for a while.
Yeah, it's been on Netflix for freaking ages.
Yeah, that's where I watched it.
I finally got to see it there.
Yeah.
Great movie, though.
My next one is another great movie. I've watched probably half of it, and that was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. No Country for Old Men. I know it's great. I love Josh Brolin, Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem. He's an excellent hitman in it. And I know how the movie plays out and ends, but I really want to watch it, but we've never gotten back to watching it.
It's one of those films I just don't. I know I've seen it. It has no hold upstairs, which is I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like either I watched it when I was too intoxicated, or I just wasn't really paying attention at the time. I wasn't in the right headspace for it. But it's just like I've seen it. I don't remember it.
I don't think I've seen it.
It won awards, didn't it?
Yeah, it won plenty.
I haven't seen it. I can confirm that I hadn't seen it because I had a guy at work sent me a screenshot from it as part of a joke message on the Messenger app. And then he followed up 10 minutes later and said, I fucking love that movie. I'm like, haha, yeah, man. I've got no idea what the fuck the screenshot was from. It was from No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
Sometimes you just have to play along.
It's such a unique way for a hitman to do things too. A unique tool for the hitman to use as well, which is the abattoir tool. and takes out locks in doors and takes out people as well as it takes out a lock in the door. So it's super, super interesting, well acted, great cast. Really want to watch it. Haven't gotten to it. And the last two ones, because these both popped into my head recently. Well, one literally popped into my head 10 minutes ago. Yeah. Tao is an AI-based movie that's been on Netflix for ages. Once again, been on the list from the very start. Looks really interesting, good. Popped up on a must-watch sci-fi movie list I saw on YouTube a couple of weeks ago.
Interesting. I haven't seen this one.
It looks good.
It's got fucking Gary Oldman in it, man.
Does it? Well, there you go.
He's Tao.
Oh, he does the voice, does he?
Huh? Apparently.
Okay.
I don't know.
Looks interesting. And Cargo this just came up because someone, I think Tom just mentioned, or Pete mentioned Australian cinema. This is an Australian movie that is on Netflix about was released before the pandemic, but a pandemic gets released on Earth, basically a zombie kind of Last of Us kind of pandemic. Martin Freeman in the Australian desert carrying his infant child across the desert during a zombie apocalypse pandemic. And he's really good. And it sounded like an interesting premise set in Australia. So thought, cool. I want to watch that one too. Never got around to it.
It's going to sound really fucking weird, but I'm genuinely interested to see how they film the bush backdrop, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos set in the Australian bush, and it always looks overcast and harsh and shit. So it'd be good to see how professional cinematographers do it to make it not look shit. Anyway,
that pretty much sums up the Australian outback, doesn't it? Harsh and shit.
Harsh, washed out, and shit. No, it's fucking our outback is fucking beautiful. It's also it's utterly unique. Oh no, I'm talking like eucalypt forests and scrub, like proper scrub, Singleton style scrub.
We watch movies and we don't look up. We very rarely, if ever, look up anything beforehand. And all of a sudden, you'll get to a point in a movie and you go, "Hold on a sec, that looks extremely like Australia."
Yeah,
and you look
is that a scribble bark gum in the background?
Yeah, and you go, yep, you know what? This was filmed here, and it's like, okay, nothing else looks like Australia. But once you get those distinctive trees and plants in the background, you go,
and then you get to the end of the film, and it's the thank you film Victoria for all your assistance. And you're like, well done.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Over to you, Tom. You got a cracker first up.
Yeah, the Jordan Peele trilogy. I've never really. I've slowly gotten in. I've never been into horror films or like those thrillers are fine, but those kind of horror films. I just never got into them. It's not something that not that I'm going to sit there and shit myself while I watch it. It's just like, I don't know. They've just never really appealed to me. But then I've slowly as I've gotten older, I've been like, oh yeah, I'll try some out. And then I've said to you guys multiple times, I remember watching the It 2 back to back and thinking they were fucking hilarious. Like, Pennywise, like. I love him. I think he's great. Like he's fucking hilarious. But then, just especially the way you guys have talked about these movies, like they've always been sitting there and Emma's not very good with horror either. And we try and do all these things, like said with Louise. You try and sit down and watch them together, and that's I think a big factor in a lot of these things that we haven't both been in the right mood to sit down and be like, cool, we're watching Get Out tonight. Like,
and it's a specific kind of horror too. Like it's not. Yeah. It's not Saw style gore horror.
It's psychological.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Even necessarily
skin
horror.
Crawl. Yeah, no, I think it is designed to be horror in the sense that it fucks with your head. It's psychological.
It's meant to be disturbing, not so much horror. Yeah.
Not scary.
No. So yes, that's definitely a trilogy that I have to sit down and watch eventually. I think Get Out will be fine. I think Nope will be fine. I think it's the middle one.
Us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the one that's going to really like. I just know from the trailer, having watched it with Emma, I think that's the one that's going to like be like, okay, this is too much. Like, she struggled with the tenseness of a Walking Dead episode when I was just like, Rick for president, kill the zombie.
If it's about tension, you'll struggle probably more with Get Out than you will with Us.
Okay, good.
That's
let's
my
start off
humble
strong.
opinion.
Let's rip that
No, honestly,
Band-Aid off.
Dan, I don't know what you think there, but
I think they're both. Yeah. I don't know how many more sounds I can make while I get my brain to tick over on this 16% beer. I love Us.
I think it's had the most vivid image of a little Dan in your head trying to pull like a big crank handle.
Yeah.
Don't know.
That's definitely what it was like. I love Us. I think Us is by far the best out of all of them. But Louise loves Get Out. She thinks Get Out's the best.
Okay.
So
I'm with Lou on this one.
Yeah.
And Nope was good too. Nope was very
good. Yeah, Nope was very unique. I do really like Nope. I thought it was a great, well thought out film. I don't know. I think they're kind of on par for tension. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Well, yeah. Eventually,
I guess Tom and
when the drought comes in, we'll eventually. I'll go watch them, and then I'll tie break that one for you guys.
Yeah.
And
which one did Emma hit you more in?
Yeah. Or knowing me, it's the grip on the arm. Jesus. I feel bones starting to crack. No, yeah. And knowing me, it'll be like, oh man, Nope, best one out of the three. And it'll be like, fuck us. Like, I mean, I said this the other week that like I need to go back and watch all the Mission Impossible films. Like, I've seen 1, 2, and 3. Like, I remember when they came out, but after
how
that,
many is there? Did I ask this question the other night too, and I've just forgotten?
There are no, you didn't. There are currently 6, and 7th movie is part 1 of the final story.
Right.
So there's going to
hasn't come out. There's going to be 8 altogether.
There's going to be 8 films.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. There we go.
Now I'm going to madly double check in the background that my
excellent, good double checking. Yeah. So yeah, I've definitely 1, 2, and 3. Like, I think we've all seen 1, 2.
And the answer is 8. I was correct.
There we go. But yeah, it's just one of the things that was like, it's not, out of any particular dislike of the franchise or anything. It's just every time they'd come around, I'd be like, yeah, see that. But it's like, oh, what's that shiny thing? I've got to go over here now.
They've all got their. I mean, look, 2 was the worst in my opinion by a long shot.
Oh yeah.
It just the storyline was just tired. The acting was subpar. 3 got better. 4, Ghost Protocol, I thoroughly enjoyed 4. 4 kind of went back to the first film for me.
Yeah, okay.
And then Rogue Nation, Fallout. Then neither of them are perfect by any stretch. There's some dumbass shit there, but at the same time, they've maintained that high expectation of seamless special effects, lots of fucking action, like unique, well thought out action that you would never see in real world, but we're practical effects. I actually watched because I like to watch a YouTube video or 2 while I'm eating lunch at work, just so I can zone out of work thinking for half an hour a day. And I watched a ex-CIA special ops guy, like a guy who'd actually been overseas and done stuff that he can't talk about, and assassinations and that sort of shit.
Toppled a regime or 2, took over their drug trade.
Rate the realism in various movies, and it's Insider has that whole shtick now of they get a historian to rate the realism for various things, and he was talking about what, a guy could use suction cups to climb up the side of the Burj Khalifa and break through a window, but no fucking idiot would, especially not in broad daylight. Like, yes, you could do it. Yes, it's physically possible, and certainly we are trained to be able to pull off a stunt like that, no problem. But you wouldn't fucking do it because you'd die. You'd get shot. So anyway. But no,
did he mention anything about driving a car out of the Burj Khalifa into the opposite building, the Fast and Furious?
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't that Fast and Furious? Yeah. Second guessing myself then.
So it's funny you say that about Mission Impossible 4, Pete. Me and Louise, we literally turned it off at the 3rd act.
Really?
We're like, yeah,
that's the one where the chick, Dizzy gets her eye blown up. Like she has is that the one with the explosives implanted in the head in the helicopter at the start?
I don't remember.
That gave me nightmares.
I don't remember.
Was it a very small red light, green light pill they just put in there?
No. It was a micro explosive in the base of their skull, and she dies at the very start of the film. And it blows it blows a pupil. Like it doesn't actually. There's no explosions. It's not like the head explodes. It's not the end of fucking Kingsman. It's the internal organs explode, and her eyes. She's talking to him, and just one eye just suddenly goes really fucked up, fried. Anyway, gave me nightmares.
Well, I look forward to that. Yeah, it's just a series. It's just like, and there's a bunch, and like fun. Good fun, like what to watch. Like, but then the next one, kind of the next two lead into
such a wild card.
Whiplash. I've always wanted to watch that.
It's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, never sat down to.
That's the one about the drumming, right?
Yeah. Miles Teller and
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Yeah,
that's a brilliant film.
But then it leads into I can't remember what Oscar-winning films I've actually seen in the last decade, 15 years. Like the ones that actually win them. Like there are a bunch of those that's like, I should probably watch those if they're getting,
I wouldn't make the assumption that they're good, mate. That's not how I'm not saying
they're good. I wasn't making the assumption they're good. It's just that I should probably watch them to see what the fuss was about. Is my whole
thing. I can understand that mentality. I watched Bird Box purely on the back of that, on the back of that concept, and I actually enjoyed Bird Box. So I'd avoided watching it for years.
But that's the thing. I would have to go through a list of Oscar-winning films, and in the last 10 to 15 years, and if they're of the best film awards, I probably can guarantee you out of the 15, let's say, there's maybe 2 I've seen. And it's just and that's just me needing to expand my range of film, and that that just comes to like most times when I sit down, and we've talked about this before. Because I get home and I don't want to sit down and put a TV show or a movie on. I want to put my controller in hand and I want to get straight into whatever game I'm playing at the time, because I've gone away from that, just sitting there being like, watching something, I need to be involved in it to get that kind of.
I've been the opposite, man. As I've
I know, and
recently.
that's what we've been talked about before. So for me, it's like, or Emma will fall asleep on the couch while we're watching something, and we'll finish the episode. Then I'll be like, oh well, I can't be bothered to get up and get the controller because she's leaning on me. It's like, oh, and then I'm just half an hour just scrolling through, being like, what the
doom
fuck
scrolling?
Yeah, and it's just because I'm not nothing really is grabbing me to go dive back into that, Tom, which I talk about later in my movies. But yeah, there's a bunch of. I'm sure whether they're good, they're bad, they're hyped up, whatever. But there's probably a bunch of movies I need to watch for myself to be like, how'd that win? Okay, all right.
We did that during COVID. We did that exactly. We went back 10 years because for exactly the same mentality, we're like, you know what? These won the Oscars. We probably should watch these because, like, I like film. I like to think I know a little bit about film. Obviously, don't know a huge amount about a film. I'd like to know why these things win. And what people say.
Advertising dollars mainly.
Yeah, so we dived in.
I just thought it was circle jerking.
Started off strong, man. It started off strong. First one we watched was Hurt Locker, and I'm like,
this
is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Cool. That's a good
slow
start.
burn, but a good movie.
Yeah, that is a strong start.
Yeah, and there was definitely some questionable ones in the 10 years worth of Oscar wins that we watched, and I think we bailed on 2. I think we definitely started them all, and if they weren't on streaming, we 100% paid for them. And one of the ones we paid for, we bailed on in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, wow. Do you remember what it was?
The Comedian, I think it was called. It was 2016-ish. We bailed on that one. I think it was called.
Well, I just lied to everyone because I've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that one, the most recent one. So, Well, we'll start from the last year. We'll start from 2022. Let's go there.
Canadian. You've got a good memory, Dan. 2016 was Canadian.
Cool. Canadian. Is that what it was called?
Comedian.
Comedian. Yeah.
Comedian. No, you were 100% correct with your memory.
Yeah.
Cool.
Peter.
Yeah. I'm going to rip through mine. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Just looks like a fucking hilarious romp.
Good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then all the Rambo movies. I've seen the first one, the end. So I need to go back and watch all the Rambos. And I've kind of been.
Ed will be so vindicated right now when he listens to this. He'll just be like, yes.
And this is one big echo chamber for us, right? Because a lot of the stuff that we want to watch is stuff that the other 2 of us have recommended, and it goes around in circles like that. Yeah. So that's not really a surprise. I keep seeing Creed 1 and 2, and I've never watched any of the Rocky movies past the first one. So I might go back and watch some of those. No?
I've never seen any. I've never
Okay.
seen any. No.
I mean, do you like boxing?
Not particularly, but I like.
You might be pretty bored.
I have seen some boxing movies that I have enjoyed though. So,
do you like a training montage?
who doesn't like a training montage?
Oh well,
hang me a dead pig, and we've got a montage. I'm sure that was the first film. Wasn't he boxing in the cold room?
Yeah,
that was
maybe
in the cold
room.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a cow.
Pretty sure it was a cow. Yeah.
Couldn't identify it from those baby back ribs.
Montage. Yeah, well, look, as long as you like a montage and some boxing, then yeah, you're sweet.
Yeah.
A lot of slow-mo face
Stallone when he was still
and
ripped.
Saliva like throwing out of the mouth. Yeah.
And I wrote down Tau just so I can remind myself of stealing Dan's idea.
Yeah.
And then we go all the way back to the top with TV.
I was going to say, do you want to go in reverse?
We can. I'm gonna rip through mine though. Like I'm not going to spend much time on mine. So I can if you want.
Yep.
Cowboy Bebop. You guys have talked it up a storm. I really want to watch it. It does lead into my last TV item actually, but we'll get there. I need to finish Walking Dead. I invested too much time rewatching it all the way up to Negan's season to not finish it. Brooklyn Nine-Nine's always there in the background. Titans season 4.
I've got Titans on my list. I've never. Yep.
Peaky Blinders season 3 and on.
Mm-hmm.
C with Jason Momoa. That was a brilliant fucking series, and I stopped at the midway point, the mid-season break in the final season. So I really just need to go back and watch those last 4 or 6 episodes. Yeah. Vikings, that's a huge series. I think that's 8 seasons, and I'm up to the 3rd. Cosmos, because everyone loves Neil deGrasse Tyson telling us about the universe.
Cosmos. Talk about one of the best documentaries ever made.
Yeah. What is Cosmos?
It's literally Neil deGrasse. It's a remake.
It's a remake of
I don't remember his name either.
The science guy.
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye, the science guy. Yeah. No,
was it
no,
really?
it wasn't. No, it wasn't Bill Nye, the science guy.
No, sure it's not.
God.
Yeah.
I'm the original Cosmos. A Personal Voyage. Who was it written? Carl Sagan.
There we
go. Carl Sagan. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Neil deGrasse Tyson in his imaginary spaceship, and he goes through from the beginning of time, the birth of the universe, and he just takes you on this journey of the evolution of the universe.
Of everything we know about the universe around us.
And the soundtrack is by Alan Silvestri, who did a lot of the early Marvel films, and it's beautiful horns. We listen to it if we can't fall asleep. I put it on, and Emma's out.
What the fuck is
cinematography?
This on? I've never even heard of it.
The cinematography is spectacular. Hang on, let me look it up on Just Watch for you on my phone while we talk.
Yeah.
And he
Cosmos is fantastic. Yeah.
He also does. He talks through the history of science too. It's not just about what we understand about the universe, but he'll go through Copernicus and the heresy trials and everything that these scientists went through in history to.
And they do that through like a cartoony animated kind of feel.
Yeah, the animation style is fucking spectacular.
It's a very particular style of animation. Oh, it's so good to put on the background or like not in the background. It's so good just to sit there when you just need to, especially when you need to relax. Put on Cosmos. It's beautiful.
It reminds. So there's 3 seasons of it, and you can currently watch it on Apple Plus.
For fuck's sake!
Sorry.
Okay, that's why I've never heard of it.
I might have a copy.
You might have a DVD copy of it.
Yeah, DVD copy. Yep.
DVD copy. That's right.
Region free. Region free DVD copy.
VHS.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
One that you can put on Dropbox. DVD like you can put on a Dropbox?
One of them magic ones.
One of those.
Yeah, I can drop it on the box. Sure. Yeah.
There's that one. Where I get to Cyberpunk, the anime mini-series.
Netrunners.
Yes. And then I want to watch some classic anime. So I've mentioned a couple of times recently on the show that I'm trying to learn Japanese, and I believe strongly in immersion at learning when it comes to languages. So I need to actually invest more time immersing myself in the language sounds around me. My ultimate goal is to be able to read anime or read manga in Japanese. So I've got some classic. So I've written down watch some classic anime, but with in Japanese with English subtitles. Because a lot of it's now been overdubbed. And in particular, Studio Ghibli, and I've seen a shit ton of Studio Ghibli already in English, so it'd be good to go back after 10 years or 15 years or whatever it is and rewatch it in Japanese.
It's also probably a good way to do it if you know the story to then be like, it helps you to pick it up as they're speaking it. Yeah.
And then Full Metal Alchemist is another series that I've always wanted to sit down and watch. So, and I noticed they've recently done Castlevania style animation remakes of some of the Full Metal Alchemists. I think Netflix have tried to bring it to the masses.
So Netflix has a pretty expansive like anime section now, but there's also the Netflix animated stuff which they've done in anime style. But I would 100% need to be fact checked on this. I believe it's the Netflix Studios version, so it's a Western studio taking on the anime style of stuff, kind of like what season 2 of Visions kind of more felt like, or like collaborative kind of thing, compared to being like an actual Japanese studio. 100% fact check me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but it's what I believe I read. But yeah, they've got some great series in there. Like obviously we watched Nightmare of the Wolf. That's that Netflix style. Yeah. The Castlevania series that I think we've all got it written on there. I need to go back and finish it.
Yeah, I got to watch season 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So season 2 on. I think there's 3 seasons now of Castlevania.
4 seasons.
There's 4, is there?
4. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the last bit for me. I just want to immerse myself in, because languages sound different. You need to get your brain wrapped around the phonetics before anything else. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, Cyberpunk Netrunners is all in Japanese. There's no dubbed version.
Yeah. Awesome. And I should have put down Star Wars Visions, because I'm a whole season behind on that. I haven't seen the latest season. So,
yeah, cool. That's the one it expands out. It involves more worldly. They're not just Japanese studios. They go outside.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe watch episode 1 last.
I think I have seen it actually.
Save episode 1 for Dan's favorite. Yeah,
I think I have seen season 2. Then now that I think of it, I'm sure there was an African style watercolor painting episode where they were the last. It was 2 sisters, 2 young girls.
Yeah,
and that
was like a plasticine made one.
Yes,
stop motion one. Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure that was season 2. So yeah,
season 2. Yeah,
okay.
Cool. Well, I'm going to lead in from that because I've got a bunch of animated stuff that I really want to get back into. I broke this down into series. Some stuff I want to start, or some series I've just abandoned for whatever reason. Just either something else came up, or
distractions.
Yep, or my just inability currently to really get stuck into an anime or any kind of series. I just sit there and watch it. Castlevania, I'm halfway through season 2. I need to go back and watch it. Every time I go and watch an episode, I fucking love it. But then I'll watch a 40-minute episode and be like, I'll come back to that. And I never do.
Scratches the itch.
Yeah. I started the War for Cybertron trilogy. The Transformers one, which is kind of like half 3D animated. And kind of almost like cell animation a bit. I really liked it. But they've got 3 seasons of that on Netflix now. And it's did you guys ever play the Cybertron games?
No.
It's based off that universe, so it's kind of a mix between like the Gen 1 series and this game series they created. But a lot of it is set on Cybertron. Eventually they get to Earth. So yeah, that was, I really enjoyed it, but it's one of those ones again that it's like I'm the only one in the house that wants to watch that for some reason. I don't know why. Emma doesn't want to sit there and watch Truck Go Boom. Truck Go Boom. Like, yeah. So yeah, definitely that's definitely one that I want to get back to. In terms of sticking on the animation thing, like Archer, was one I've watched on and off, but they're in their final season now. So like they're wrapping up the whole story. So it's like, cool, this is probably the time to go back and restart it.
It is entertaining. It's small doses for me. The same as there's a few other TV series.
Well, it's kind of like Rick and Morty. It's like you get through 3 and you're just like, whew, that's a lot in my brain
now.
Yeah. I need to come back to that like at a later date.
I can't believe they're doing new Futurama. Sorry to interrupt. They're doing new seasons of Futurama like a decade later.
Well, Dan's happy.
Blows my mind.
I love Futurama.
Yeah, I fucking oath.
I think Futurama is, and I know it's going to be controversial. Is better. I think it's definitely better than Simpsons, and I think it's more creative. And I know we wouldn't have Futurama without the Simpsons. Everybody's going to fucking yell at me. Especially, is it Ed that watches Simpsons on a fucking regular basis?
There's the Conan years of The Simpsons, and then they get to the movie. It's when you get to the movie, it all just goes downhill.
Yeah. I think Futurama is fantastic. This goes back to what Pete we met. I touched on briefly in our UpLate about sci-fi. But fucking Space Quest, man. Roger Wilco. Like, I grew up with that satirical, futuristic Star Trek, but like off the wall Star Trek kind of shit. And that's why
like
I love
Buck
Futurama
Rogers
so much.
Rip-offs.
Oh, it's just crazy shit, and I just love it. I think it's fantastic. Oh man, future with suicide boots. And it's like, who could imagine it?
Yeah. Sorry to cut in there, Tom.
No.
Futurama.
I mean, that is a future that yes, I'm sure certain people have envisioned. But yes, Archer, they're up to the last season now, so that's actually just about to air. So now it's like kind of, you know, with this apparent like drought that's coming in of content, it's like, well, perfect. I'm gonna go watch the James Bond ripoff that's just poking fun at the entire category for how many years it's been around. But the new series that I never started, Invincible. I really want to watch that. It's on Amazon. It looks really cool and almost like boys level kind of like violent and gory. The next one I wrote, well, the one I wrote before that actually, Vinland Saga. Dan, you should definitely watch this if you want to get into some more animated stuff. It is an anime that was recommended. If you liked Northman, you'll like Vinland Saga. I was like,
love really? Northman. That's fucking hilarious.
That's a random association with some anime.
Well, no. So this is from the podcast the other podcast I've been on, like guest start on, Gateway to Anime, and it's like an intro to anime stuff, and they talk about how it's one of their little videos. They're like, hey, if you like Northman and you like all these like Vikings and stuff, you're gonna love Vinland Saga. So that's shout out to those guys because they were the ones who got me onto Cowboy Bebop, and Pete, definitely watch the animated one, and I suggest watching both the animated one and the Netflix series. I liked both, but also I'm a sucker for John Cho. I've said it before. I'll say it till the day I die. Like, that man is gorgeous. Dear God, get him on my screen whenever you can. I love some John Cho. I think he's great. I think he's a really good actor. And I think they shot a bunch of it in Australia too. Homegrown stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then, just some other stuff that I've abandoned, like American Gods. I love that series, but it's like, I need to get back to it.
I stopped at season 1. I don't have any real interest in season 2.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, but I think this is also a big problem I've got now. Everything's an hour-long episode. Like, I really like, you talk about having like you show you watch while you wolf down dinner, like when we were messaging before.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that.
Yeah, I love those. I love a short episode sometimes, especially when it's like, I'm pretty time starved with work and stuff, or like, especially like I'll finish work and I'm like, cool, I can go home and watch something. And then inevitably someone from work calls me and be like, Tom, the tanks are on fire. And I was like, well, put it out. And I'm like, now you're interrupting my TV time. Why do I have 2 phones? I don't know. But like,
why are you talking to yourself?
Oh, well, when aren't I talking to myself? But yeah.
But yeah, like a brick wall. The brick wall has lots of conversations, doesn't it?
Yeah, they hear all of them. But yeah, like American Gods, I still need to go finish the second season. Man in High Castle, I remember watching the first episode and being like, that's a really cool concept. But something else happened in my life and now I've never gone back. And it's always sat there in my Amazon list being like, hi, remember me? It's like the toy up on the shelf being like, don't you forget about me.
Used to play with me.
But like, I love anything that's kind of like World War II themed and like those alternate histories. Like, I love the Wolfenstein games, and this is basically a TV show based around that.
Yeah.
Titans. I don't know how far behind I am on Titans. I don't remember the last thing that happened in it. It's just it was good, and then
it wasn't. But it kind of lost its way a little bit. I think we got over the wow factor of holy fuck, they're actually doing this on TV.
Yeah,
and it's good. Holy fuck, and it's R-rated. Holy fuck, and then it kind of got okay. All the shiny shrink wrap's gone now, and it's like another season on.
And I think again, it was because they're hour-long episodes from.
They are.
Memory.
That's the trap they fell into. They had too many hour-long episodes.
I think just cut it back 20 minutes, a 40-minute episode. And there's all those bloke conversations where it's like, we get it. You said this like 3 episodes ago.
God, we've come a long way on our feelings towards that show. We had an episode called Man in Suit that we were super excited for because, you know, we had a whole discussion, I think in season 2 or 3 of the show about whether or not they'll properly bring Batman in or they'll just allude to him.
Yep.
We took the piss out of Robin. I think Robin was sneaking into Bruce's mansion, and there was something about on the phone he was trying to communicate the PIN code, and it was like 42069. And we're like, seriously, has the show come that far? because that was fucking Robin. That was
yeah,
Dick
I remember.
Grayson's. No, it wasn't Dick. Sorry, it was.
Yeah, I
Old
remember
Crowbar
something
boy.
about it. Crowbar boy. Jason,
thank you. And we were taking the piss out of it. Now it's just like, meh, whatever. Is that show still on?
I definitely want to watch it. We didn't have a platform because it was on Netflix.
It was.
And then the rights got sold off and it ended up on Binge in Australia. Binge. I don't know what it ended up on in America. We've got Binge now, so
is it back on, or is it only certain seasons on Netflix then?
I think it's only a couple of seasons on Netflix.
Right, okay.
Oh, no, it might be back on Netflix now. I don't remember. But it wasn't available when it first came out, the new seasons, for a long while.
Okay, right.
But it's 100%. It's not on our it's on the list, but we might not get to it. It's definitely we will get to it on the list.
Yeah, and then Black Mirror. I've got to catch up on that, and then I guess the other one I didn't put on my list there, but I just thought about it because you mentioned Binge. Is I've still got to sit down and watch Last of Us. But I don't know if I know what you said, like, because having played the game and watched the series, I'm still not sure if I'm there. But I imagine I'll just get to a drought of Pedro Pascalness, and I'll need more of him in my life. And I can only watch the Game of Thrones scene where he fights the mountain, but they exchange it for lightsabers that many times before it's like, Tom, just go watch something else with Pedro.
I got to say, it is still. I still feel like it's one of the best adaptations of a video game ever. So it's not perfect, and it's not a 1-to-1 replica, but it's the best that I think we've gotten for a long, long time.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something. But I, again, need to be in the headspace for it. I think, they'll probably, if they ever announce Last of Us 3, will be like, now's the time, Tom. Go on. Get stuck in.
Just before Dan goes, I added one more to my list, and that's Ragnarok, which is a Norwegian TV series.
I remember hearing about that one. Yeah.
I watched the first season. It was brilliant. It's dubbed. I'm pretty certain it's on net. Yeah, it is on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on Netflix.
So it's recorded. It's filmed in Norwegian and then dubbed back into English. But it's really nicely done. It's and I think they've just released, or they're about to launch their final season. So that'll kind of wrap it up, and I'll sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
Over to you, Dan. Sorry.
Well, no, it's interesting coming off what Tom was just saying about Titans, the one that I have had on the list forever that just never got to because I feel like it's in imitation Titans, even though it's the original content. Well, it's based on something, the Umbrella Academy. I think it looks cool. It sounds like a cool concept. Sound like interesting characters.
Did you not watch any of it?
Story. No, not a single second of it.
Okay.
And
I stopped at season 2.
I struggled to finish season 1.
Oh, okay.
I remember I was...
Oh, well, fuck it. I'm going to delete it off the list now. Don't worry.
Don't take our word for it.
First season was good and it was interesting. I just found the season 2 got a little stupid, to be honest, with all the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff. And I think they made 3 or 4 seasons.
I think they definitely did 3. I don't know if they did a 4th. I just remember getting to the, it was one of those ones Emma and I started, and then she was like, I'm just not really interested in it. I liked all the actors and that were in it. But again, it just got a bit too long episode. Like, you needed to cut 10, 15 minutes of it. Yeah. There was just so much filler, interpersonal drama that you didn't feel I didn't feel invested. I'm sure people did. But yeah, I finished the first season. I remember, but I was I remember I was in Canada at the time, and I remember it was being well, fuck, I'm stuck in the house for 6 hours. I might as well bung this out. Let's go. And then did. But yeah, it didn't leave a lasting impression on me. I never went back for season 2 or 3.
Isn't there a talking chimpanzee with a monocle?
Yes,
there is. And you think that would have my attention nor my curiosity. But look, that's not enough.
It's a well done chimp with a monocle.
Very good. Very, very well animated.
Well, I mean, that was my selling point. That was the selling point.
Don't get me wrong.
So.
I think the thing about the monocle chimp, which I can't remember his character's name at the moment, but he wasn't in enough. Give me more monocle chimp. I'll watch 3 seasons back to back.
And then I had Castlevania, Pinky Blinders. It's the same as what Tom and Pete were saying. It's just things there. Castlevania, I really enjoyed season 1. I thought it had a bit of a lull in the middle, but I thought it ended really strong. Love the animation, love the new take on the Castlevania side of it. Peaky Blinders, never started it, but love that era. Love that London, dirty, sweaty, gritty gangland
the Irish
stuff.
coal workers, and the factory workers. Yeah.
And Taboo's a little bit the same. Taboo's
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I've always looked at that. And
I haven't seen it.
I think it feels really interesting in the Americas in the Wild West era.
A little bit Bayou, I think, actually.
Yeah.
So
so not the Wild West, but that time frame, if you can call it a time frame. I'm sure it has a proper term to it. But that's kind of
Wild West, just not on the frontier.
Just not on the frontier. Yeah, exactly.
That is the time period. It's just,
okay, that is the time period, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And I mean, some bits and pieces of other TVs, but nothing that really excites me. I mean, there's a bunch of shit on there that I'm just like, yeah, that seemed all right when it came out. But you know what? It got cancelled after one season, so fuck it. I'm just not going to bother.
Not invested time or start to fall in love with something you know that's ultimately going to die.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things. Norseman, if you haven't watched that, Norseman is fucking hilarious. I think there's a new season of that out. I'm just about due a rewatch of Newsroom. There's a bunch of old series that I'll always go back and rewatch top to tail. Newsroom is just one of those series that, as America continues its slow circling of the drain as a social wasteland and their society collapses, Newsroom just becomes more and more fucking relevant.
It was filmed years ago too, wasn't it?
Yeah. And yet, some of the episodes and the speeches that you see recycled on YouTube around the environment and stuff, it's like, holy fuck, that could have been written yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really well done, that series.
You've spoken about that for years. I've never got to it.
Yeah, I've seen some of the Newsroom episodes. They are quite good. I think Emma enveloped that series.
Oh, I can absolutely imagine Emma just drinking that. Yeah. And you need to add Foundation to your list, Dan.
I don't have the platform that it's on, so it's just it'll get added to the to watch list when I have the app.
When you're sailing the seven seas of the internet, as it were. Yeah, your black flag flying high.
I've also written read more books, so I've got Asimov and Banks. I need to get back into. There's some original Asimov.
My mate Chris just gave me one of the latest. It's not the Rogue Squadron series, but it's one of them after the Aftermath Rogue Squadron books, and I've got to sit down and read that. I think this might be a fun way to. I'm going to throw it at you guys and I'll start it. But your guilty pleasure thing that you probably shouldn't enjoy watching as much as you do.
No, we're not doing this, Tom.
No. I'm going to do mine and you can pick anything. You don't have to, So mine there's a great series. It started on Netflix and now it's on. I think it got moved to Binge. It's called Rust Valley Restorers, and it is about some dude who lives in the Canadian fucking.
You talked about it before. I'm certain.
It is the guiltiest fucking pleasure of mine because they are probably the worst people on the planet. No, I'm sure they're very nice, but they're just hick mechanics, and I can't get enough of it. And I just discovered that the newest seasons are on Binge. And Emma came home and she's, oh no, not new ones. And I'm like, oh, there's 2 seasons I'm behind.
What's it called?
Rust Valley Restorers. And it's this dude who lives in this, it's this valley in British Columbia. And it's just happens to be like this zone of where people just have rusting heaps of like Camaros and Mustangs and all in between big trucks. And they. I'm
sure there's another one called something Pickers.
American Pickers. It might I don't know.
American Pickers.
I don't know if I've never watched that one, but this one, I don't know why. I think it was the delightful Canadianness of it. But it's also it's so dumb because there's these rusting heaps of shit that they're trying to restore, and then they just turn and do this scenic shot, and it's like, holy crap, that is the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. So it's this really polarizing
for all this. Yeah.
Oh, I can't get enough of it. I literally, and that's the thing. I try and go watch one of these other series I've got on my backlog. I was like, I'm going to rewatch where they built that 1977, Camaro out of 18 different cars, and it came out it was bright pink with fucking flames coming out the back, and you're just like, hell yeah, that's so dumb. But yeah, that's like one of my guilty series. It's like it always just like, I guess more that. What's the series that always distracts you from going to get to your list? You're like, no, what? Fuck it, put that on. That's gold.
I've got two. You're saying that this didn't come from what I was talking to you about? No,
I have been thinking about this for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
I got two. I got Forged in Fire. I cannot go past Forged in Fire, even if it's on TV. If I happen to be flicking through, because we watch a lot of SBS, so quite often we turn the TV off or flick to the PlayStation channel with the TV still on SBS. So when you turn it on, it's on SBS. And what's halfway through or just starting? Forged in Fire. Okay, you know what? I'm meant to be going to do this, but I'm going to sit down and watch an episode of Forged in Fire that I've watched 10 times. And my other one is Adam Savage's YouTube channel. I have a serious fucking problem with Adam Savage's YouTube channel. I find I will sit there. I sat there and watched him make a fucking brass bottle cap for 45 minutes the other day, going through his lathe and the process of him doing, because his wife had this beautiful glass bottle and he's like, that's a really nice bottle, but it's got a really shit cap on it. I'm going to make a better cap. So he puts this chunk of brass in his lathe and he just sits there, and he had to work out the spacing of the thread and the mechanics of getting it all cut correctly to fit this bottle correctly. And absolutely enamored. It was the word I was going for, but I didn't think it was quite the right term. But I am.
It's probably not, to be honest.
And enamored by just watching this man run a lathe for. But he's
an incredible human too.
He's even if he's not saying much at the time, you know he's going to come out with some cracking stuff later on. Like, it's just this.
I've been watching him a lot recently, and I think it might have been Corridor Crew linked into it, or it might have the end of a video.
He was on there a couple of times,
Yeah, okay. And just talking to him, that's right, Corridor Crew visited his collection, his private collection. He takes them through movie props.
Right. And they did the nose, the Chinatown Jack Nicholson nose cut. So Corridor Crew redid it digitally, and Adam Savage redid it practically. And then they put the two side by side and said,
which is better, basically.
Which is better and which is which,
Yeah, that's cool. So and because I watched that episode, it linked into a bunch of Adam. It's just funny you mention it, because I'd never really watched much of his stuff from after Mythbusters, because he was on Mythbusters, wasn't he? That's where he started. Yeah. And then suddenly I watched that Corridor Crew episode recently, and I've been fucking inhaling Corridor Crew lately.
He's got a couple of series like in the background though, doesn't he? Like, they're not as prominent, say Mythbusters was.
Discovery stuff, yeah.
Yeah. What was your other one? Oh, that was the two.
No, Forged in Fire and Adam Savage. But just you say that, Tom. I find the shows that he does too produced. They're too American
scripted?
TV produced, too scripted, definitely. And just watching, like, when he does his one day builds, and the stuff he did over COVID was fucking fantastic, because this is where it all started in COVID. It was literally him with his iPhone on a stand, and he takes it all around the shop with him. There's no mic people, there's no videographer. There is sometimes because he's got his crew that does stuff with him. But if he just wants to be there and he just enjoys being in his cave,
his man cave,
he calls it, and filming stuff on his own, and he just moves it around, and the hilarity that follows sometimes, where he forgets sometimes he's being filmed and he'll start dancing around or singing, or he'll be thinking and he'll be like tapping out a pattern on his chest while he's like, and his eyes are up and he's like trying to solve this problem in his head. And that might go for like 30 seconds and he'll all of a sudden go, oh, and then he'll get back to talking and he'll get distracted by stories about movies, about props, about just behind the scenes stuff. And he's just such an interesting character. I just inhale his episodes.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm going to quickly jump in there with something that I think is really going to entertain our good friend James, the sweaty Xbox troll, as I got called out for calling him. And this is his vindication to use against me. But if you're talking about favorite YouTube channels, I am obsessed with this YouTube channel called Outside Xbox. I've never actually owned an Xbox, but it's just they do these videos, these
You've
countdown.
talked about Outside
I think they're great. They're just some British blokes, and they're like their humor just gets me. It's two guys and a girl presenting, and they do these top 7 countdowns, and they're dumbest things. Like one I watched the other day was like the trailers that had nothing to do with what actually happened in the game, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I have been pissed off by this. Let's watch this. Oh, it's their just really satirical take on it. So yes, James, my favorite YouTube channel is Outside Xbox, and it's all about Xbox games. And you know what? Hey,
so
pal.
I actually think I think my guilty pleasure is primarily YouTube channels, and I could talk about a whole bunch of interesting YouTube channels. Dan, like right up Adam Savage, right up the alley of Adam Savage making a bottle cap on his lathe. There's a YouTube channel I've subscribed to where he makes rings out of meteorites and those sorts of things on a lathe, and it's just fascinating to watch. But I actually think before I get too deep into what I watch on YouTube, that's a whole UpLate by itself. I think the three of us, our favorite YouTube channels and why and what makes them fascinating. So my guilty pleasure that I'll throw out there, and I will fess up to the one that I was talking about before, Tom. I love singing shows, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why.
I like to point out this was not me. This was not me putting a stitch up on Pete.
True, but I
really just wanted to talk about Rust Valley Restorers because I love it.
but I stop watching when you get past the initial auditions, because that's when it starts becoming overproduced shit.
That's actually that's kind of cool. Yeah.
So like the street performer style.
Yep.
You know, it's just some poor schmuck with a microphone, and he either sings like an angel or he's shit. But as soon as it gets to overproduced crap where it's all auto-tuned and there's a big stage production, that's where I stop.
So how long does that last for? Because I've never watched more than it's taken me to find something else on the guide and change the channel is the length of time that I've ever had one of those on. So
The Voice is probably my least favorite format because it's just so contrived. But I think that's 6 episodes or maybe 8 episodes of blind auditions.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. So, and you are talking like, even in Australia, they're pretty world famous fucking.
The Australian Idol was similar the same. I remember watching because a mate of mine went on it. I went to uni with, and it was like, obviously, you were like, well, you have to support the friend. And
I can't believe this is how we're going to end this episode, though.
Hey, it's been a TV phenomenon for years. But it's 6 to 8 episodes of like just bringing in the people, and they obviously have the ones that's just like, oh, dude, just no. Why?
Well, Idol was better for that. Idol, they would show you some fucking terrible auditions just for fun. But the Voice doesn't really do that. Like you, not everyone gets through, but they'll generally they've pre-screened them before they get there.
Yeah,
so they know they can at least carry a tune, if not perfectly. But that's my guilty pleasure. I enjoy watching those shows right up till the audition phase ends, and then it just becomes mass-produced shit. I actually think you'd be surprised by what percentage of pop stars, specifically pop, were discovered on those talent shows. It would be an appreciable percentage in America and Britain, I would think.
Yep.
Certainly in Australia. You think about Australian pop singers in the last 20 years, I reckon almost all of them were on one of those talent shows at one stage or another.
Well, Guy Sebastian's the first one, and that was early 2000s. So
Shannon Knoll.
Yeah.
What's her name? I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. Jessica
Sophie
Malboy.
Monk. Wasn't Sophie Monk one of the early ones? Wasn't she one of the girl band ones?
She was one of the girl band ones. That was one of my Uncle Damien's favorite bands for Bardo.
Bardo was.
Oh my God,
that was deep in the recess.
We had.
Oh no, Uncle Damien. And Dad's gonna love this because I know Dad listens to this. Uncle Damien used to not shut up about Bardo. It's like, we get it, Damien. You like the 5 girls in the skimpy black dresses.
I knew that was going to that dark place.
Calm
So
down,
I was hoping to steer us away from that. I think we had CDB come out to our school until they were throwing out discs, and the guy my mate standing next to me, threw the disc back and hit one of the singers in the head, and that was the end of the show. They were only there for about 20 minutes.
Who?
CDB. They were an Aussie boy band for about 10 minutes, and the
no wonder I've never fucking heard of them.
The girl clique, one of the girl cliques in our grade in year 7 or 8,
CBD oil, I don't know, just Stoner Rock.
But you had to ring the radio station, and it was like a raffle on a radio station, right? All these schoolgirls were calling up, and our schoolgirls won, and then we got them cancelled really damn quick by They're essentially assaulting one of the steers.
By falconing them, yeah. Just a headshot from the Xena disc. Just
anyway, that's my guilty pleasure, and I think that might be it for this show.
I need to rate my beer.
You do?
And Peter's yours changed.
Oh, my rating hasn't changed.
It's very boozy, but it's 16%. So I knew that coming into it.
Can't blame the beer, Dan.
No, I can't. Well, can you? I
No, because the beer is essentially an inanimate object, and it's the brewer's fault.
I don't think there's enough backbone holding it there. I think it's good. I'm glad I tried it. I think if you like high booze beers, that it's well up there with a fairly well made one. I think it's slightly out of balance just because it hasn't got some of that extra sort of malt character there, but that could be being played out because of the amount of alcohol. Look, I'm going to give it a 3.75. If I was giving it round numbers, I'd give it a 4, but it's getting a 3.75.
But you're an arsehole, so you won't. Fair enough.
Yep.
I really want you to try the one that I had tonight because I'd be really interested to see what a beer judge would think of that, and because your palate's a lot more developed than mine is.
Apparently not after the awards that were given out last night, and I completely trashed one of the trophy beers.
Yes, that was last episode that will come out in about 6 weeks' time. So that's going to confuse listeners. What were you going to say, Tom?
I mean, that's if the listeners are actually following what happens in the Indie Awards, but if they're not, they're just going to go straight over their heads.
Yes, and my rating's not changing. It's a solid ass beer. It is a very unusual flavor, and I think it's probably the cinnamon myrtle doing all of the heavy lifting there. Both the weird spicy burnt flavor and the real astringent bitterness of the myrtle. I think that's both that in that myrtle.
I'm interested, Tom. Can you just put one of those aside for me? Oh, did you get it from the other place?
No. Yes. No. I got it from Tom.
Okay.
I got it from Tom. It's all kind of blending together, but I'm pretty sure.
You want to buy a stout? Like a good stout.
Can you put one aside and I'll place an order when I get back?
Oh, fucking hell, all right, mate.
Or I'll place an order and send it to Pete's.
Yeah, just ship it to me in my next order, Tom, because I'm about to place one.
Yes, your highnesses, I will do as you bid.
And we could probably not do this on the episode either.
Well.
Thanks for tuning in. Let us know what your
my rating didn't change either, by the way, for those.
But you weren't going to say yours has changed.
Yeah.
I just want to be included. Fuck. It was delicious from top to bottom.
Let us know what you're watching while we have the wasteland that is all of the strikes.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have some good series for us to try out.
Yes,
please.
That would be interesting too.
You know how you can do that? If you like and subscribe, then you can throw it up as a comment.
Very true, Tom.
He's so disappointed with himself.
No, I'm not. I'm so proud.
You know what I found out the other day? Spotify has a star rating system the same as iTunes. So there's another place that we don't have 100 ratings of 5 stars that you all need to immediately rush to and give us 5 stars on. I didn't even know. I genuinely didn't. But
I just thought it had a love heart button.
Makes sense, but...
Oh, maybe in the podcast section. I don't go in there. It's a dirty section.
No one goes in there.
Dirty section.
If you made it this far, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Good night.